Hey everybody, welcome back to First City Podcast. I'm your host Aaron Whited, owner of First City Records, located in downtown Marietta, 166 Front Street. Got a great show for you all today. We sit down with Jill from The Great Race. She's one of the chair people on the committee for The Great Race, coming through Marietta on Sunday, June 23rd. It's an all-day event if you're into classic cars, racing, and being part of a once-in-a-lifetime event in downtown Marietta. Definitely stick around and listen to my interview with Jill. And then we also have Adam and Jack from the band HORSEBURNER, local metal band who have a record deal. They have multiple albums, and they had a new one coming out. We sit down, we talk about the new album a little bit, but I kind of just wanted to get a chance to get to know them, their history, how they met, all that good stuff. So if you're into HORSEBURNER, that's our main event for today's show. The Great Race is the next big event going on at First City Records, and that is Sunday, June 23rd. Jake Dunn and the Blackbirds, one of my favorite bands ever, is going to be in the store 5:30 to 7:30, kind of a way to send off the day, closing ceremonies, if you will. It's a free concert. Come on down, bring a chair. We got plenty if you want to take a seat. We're going to have the AC cranked. Come down and enjoy classic cars and food and drink, and we are obviously Dora friendly, so come on in and listen to some great music on us to cap off a wonderful day in downtown Marietta. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into our interview with Jill from The Great Race, and you guys are going to get to learn the tips and tricks of how to get in and out of downtown and everything that you're going to need to know about that event. So here is our interview with Jill Watucky from The Great Race Marietta LLC. All right, guys, welcome back to the First City Podcast. Sitting down now with the chair from The Great Race here in Marietta. Please welcome in Miss Jill Watucky. Thanks for joining me, Jill.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to come in and share the great news about the Hemmings Motorsports Great Race coming to Marietta here on Sunday, June 23rd.
So a lot of us are going to be open that day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. because we're going to have a lot of people in from out of town. So kind of just wanted to learn more about what is the Great Race, what is some of the history behind it, and how did Marietta get involved in it, and what can people expect? And lastly, tips and tricks about how to get around downtown safely, where should people park, things like that, just so people are in the know so they can get downtown without worrying.
Perfect. I can start off. First, I just want to thank you, Aaron, and First City Records for all that you've done. You jumped on board as soon as you found out about it. I came down here and knocked on the door one day and handed out some literature. And the next thing I know, you have Jake Dunn and the Blackbirds booked for that night from 5:30 to 7:30 to do a live show. And I just really appreciate the merchants and yourself. You guys have got behind this, and we're really excited about what's coming to Marietta on Sunday, June 23rd. So it started off there. Dave Archer and Wally Kendall, a number of years ago, they actually took a 57 Chevy and drove in something called the Great Race. And what the Great Race is, it's an event every summer. They pick a different area of the United States, and cars, this year it's from 1974 and earlier. And, you get your car all fixed up, and it's not a race about how fast you can go. It's more on accuracy. And sometimes we think that the race that name kind of throws it off. And so Dave and Wally, Dean Booth also helped him, and Gary O'Brien, several of the years. And you take off from a starting point. This year it's going to be in Owensboro, Kentucky. And every morning you get up and they hand you a binder. And the binder has all the different ways to get to the next city. So they're going to start in Owensboro, Kentucky, and they're going to head to Lawrenceburg, Indiana. And what it says is you're not allowed to use any GPS or any kind of electronics. You actually have to get the speedometer from them. You have to buy it from the Great Race organization. And you have to maneuver your way through to the next city. It's not going to be on main roads. It's going to be on back roads. And you may go, your booklet may say, go 35 miles at 60 miles per hour and make a left at a railroad crossing, and then maybe go 2 miles, so many miles per hour. So it's very, you're constantly trying to watch exactly how close you're coming. And there'll be people hidden along the path with clock watches or stopwatches, and they will go and stop, just trying to see where you're coming in at. And Dave Archer's told the story that one time they got lost, they took a wrong turn and came back, and he was going 65 miles an hour just to get back into the line of the cars. And the lady said, yeah, I was clocking you. You were going 65 and a 35. You're lucky the police didn't get you. So, but what it is it's just, pencil and paper, and it's a competitive, controlled speed endurance road rally, and it's all vintage cars. There's actually a couple motorcycles in this year's race. There'll be 140 of them. They're competing for over $150,000 worth of prize money. So they're going to be coming here. They'll leave Owensboro, Kentucky, head to Lawrenceburg, Indiana, get up the next morning, and they'll go to Lancaster, Ohio.
Okay.
And it will be, it's not going to be on 70. It's going to be these back roads over to Lancaster. They're going to have lunch in Lancaster, and then from Lancaster, they'll come to Marietta. And the other thing about the Great Race is nobody knows which way they're going. There's only about 3 people that know right now how they're actually going to get from Lancaster to Marietta, because they don't want people trying to cheat it out.
Okay, so there's not a website to track the drivers and all that stuff.
No.
Okay.
So we have,
see that.
yeah. I think I kind of got an idea. The guy that his name is John, and he's been to Marietta, I think 3 times already in 2024. And when he was here in May, he was finishing up the clocking and making sure where it comes in. The cars, when they leave a city, they leave a minute apart. So they leave one car, and then the next car leaves a minute later. And if everybody does everything right, when they get to Marietta, they should come in a minute apart. But we know nobody's going to be, the accuracy is very difficult.
So in a race that isn't done by who crosses the finish line first, how is the prize money divvied out? Is it based on how many points you get for showing up on time in different cities, or?
It's based on your accuracy. Actually, the winner last year won by 4 minutes, I believe. Was the only difference in accuracy between first and second place. So in the 19 or 20 stops that they had, they were only off 4 minutes what they ever should have been, what it should have taken.
Wow.
So it's it's pretty very high tense. Dave tells the story that when him and Wally were, they went around the state of Michigan a number of years ago, and they made sure they stopped by every single Great Lake. And they bought a radio because they thought, well, while we're cruising along, we're going to listen to the radio. They had it on for the first day for a minute and never had it on again, because there's so much talking and trying to figure out which way to turn and all that. So
it's got to be tense, especially in these days. We're so glued to our phones and glued to our GPSs that, I use my GPS to go to places in Vienna to see which way is the quickest way. I mean, my goodness, I couldn't imagine trying to get from point A to point B in a specific moment in time. That's a pretty cool concept. It's actually a kind of race I've never heard of before. So that's really interesting.
Well, and there was a movie called The Great Race, and it's based off of that. And this race has been happening for maybe almost 100 years, not quite 100 years, but it's very. I've been watching the website, and 2025 the wait list is already filled to get your car in, and 226 is open. So that's how these vintage car people, they love it. And they'll come in, rain or shine. You'll have a car. There's some as early as 1906 that don't even have a top on them. They're going to have their leather helmets and goggles. And
cool.
It may be raining, but they come across that finish line. And so that's kind of cool too, to see all that. And like I said, all across the United States, these vintage cars are from, and I believe there's a few from other countries as well in the race this year.
Okay, so now we know a little bit about the history of the race. So there's been a committee formed for Marietta, and you're a part of that committee to help put on the best day possible for these racers as they come through, which is a great thing for the city of Marietta. Let's talk about what you guys have planned for the citizens of Marietta to make this day enjoyable for not only the visitors, but also for all of our locals.
Well, and when we first started this whole process, Dave Archer and Wally Kendall begged, they've asked the Great Race for years. They're like, hey, you got to come to Marietta. We've got a gem of a city here. We've got two rivers. And they were able to get the director here last April. So April of 2023, he came through and he fell in love. He says, wow, you guys got something special here. And so from there, it's taken off. And they say cities can get 6,000 to 10,000 people easily. And when Dave and Wally did it, the Great Race, they would come into cities. There'd be 10,000 people to watch this race come in. So we thought, well, how can we make this everything motorsports? And something the Great Race says is, if you're doing the Great Race, why not have a car show with it?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, okay, we'll do a car show. Well, if you know Dave Haas, Dave Archer, the co-chairs, it's not just a car show now, it's a motorsports show. So it's kind of exciting. So what we're going to do, starting on Sunday, June 23rd at 9 a.m., we're going to have an everything motorsports show. We're going to shut down all of 2nd Street. Front Street will also be shut down. And all the parking lots on 2nd Street are going to be available. All the businesses stepped up and said, yeah, you can use our parking lots.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so we've been, we can have vintage and race cars, sports cars, hot rods, motorcycles, Model Ts and As, trucks, tractors, Jeeps, antiques, engines, anything you've got that you want to bring, it's welcome to come to the
On the flyer, it says King Midget Cars. I'm so excited to see mini cars.
Yeah.
I'm a very big fan of miniature things like baby bottles of ketchup. And so I'm excited to see those.
Yeah, and they were actually manufactured in Athens, Ohio. And a lot of the Arnold brothers here in Marietta are part of that. And they're all excited to bring those to us. We have the gates opening that morning at 8 a.m. That's Putnam and 2nd Street. And it's just $10 per vehicle, whatever vehicle you want to bring, a truck, tractor, Jeep, vintage sports car. The entire parking partners lot is going to be Corvettes, which is really exciting. And we're going to, when you pay the $10, we're going to hand you a Great Race commemorative plaque, dash plaque. So that's for free. As soon as you come in, give us $10, we'll hand you the plaque. No pre-registration is needed. We've got tons of door prizes for all the people that are coming in. The first 125 people to register that day will receive a free goodie bag. And so, yeah, all of 2nd Street at this point in time will be from 9 a.m. All the way from Putnam down to Green at 9 a.m. will be an Everything Motorsports show. So that's how we're kicking off the day. What's really nice about all of this is the merchants, the restaurants downtown, they've bought into it and they realize the amount of people we're going to have in Marietta. And so many of the merchants, First City Records included, are going to be opening about 9 a.m. Some may wait till about the noon hour, but they're saying, hey, we're going to have all these people in, restaurants included. How can we welcome them to Marietta and feed these people and bring them in our stores and show off Marietta? And then as we move into the afternoon, one of the things is, you come down to the motorsports show from 9 to 4, and then we got the Great Race coming in about 4 o'clock. What can people do? We want them to come to the restaurants. We want to sit with them to sit down and have a dinner. We're going to have food vendors like we would at the Sternwheel Festival down along Green Street. The merchants are going to be open. And one of the things that is pretty cool, too, is Marietta Memorial Health System and Akron Children's Hospital stepped up, and they're offering a free kids zone on the Armory lawn, which begins at noon. And they're going to have a petting zoo, cartoon characters by J.D. Williamson.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, he's going to be there.
He's been drawing pictures of my kids and all the way back from when I was a kid. Yeah, he's been around forever. I love that
awesome. And this is all free. Marietta Memorial is taking care of all that for us. Balloon twisters, face painting. They even have a magic show coming. And Kona Ice is going to be there. And they're going to be, and I do believe they may be bringing a therapy dog or two down as well. And this is going to start at noon. Probably will flow right into when the Great Race comes in about 4 o'clock. But bring your kids, free event. We're trying to keep everything free for the community. And then again, the Great Race will show up at 4. What's the way that I do know the way the Great Race will actually come into Marietta is they're going to come across the Putnam Street Bridge.
The one that's usually lined with flags,
yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah, and the Marietta Noon Lions Club has graciously offered to put up the flags. So
that's going to make a beautiful set of pictures.
Oh.
I'm sure there's some drone artists in town that will be bringing out their drones for this.
Yeah, and that's exciting. So they'll turn onto Front Street, and the finish line is right in front of the Armory, kind of right in front of Representative Johnson's old office there. That they're going to come in. The Great Race people will come in ahead of time, put up a big blow up finish line. As the cars come through, they'll do a real quick little mini interview with each one. They'll send them down Front Street, and then we're going to line them up on Front Street. There'll be 140 vintage race cars lined up from 4:30 until 7:30 at night.
Yeah, and that's pretty much okay. So they're going to cross the finish line, pause for a minute, and then they're going to go down to starting at the Lafayette and work their way all the way up Front Street, parking hopefully 1 minute apart.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have cars in front of all of our shops, including mine. So where would you say is the best place for people to park, to be part of this event, knowing that first and second is going to be closed? I would say most people are pretty well used to it with the stern wheel. If first and second is going to be closed and the food vendors are on green, most people kind of are up with how things run when they close off downtown. But as far as seeing the race, they're coming across Putnam and going down Front Street by the Armory. So the Armory is going to be hopping that day.
Oh, yeah.
Start right around 4 o'clock. Plenty of places to bring a lawn chair, park your bottoms, and watch the cars come in. Find some shade if you get there early. And everybody's going to be open.
Yeah, and one of the things which has really worked out well, and we have over 43 sponsors of this event. We've had number of businesses step up, and they see this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Generally, they don't come back to another city again. But we were able to offer free parking and shuttle buses from the Washington County Fairgrounds. So we're going to run buses all day, starting, I believe, at 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. at night. You can park at the fairgrounds, jump on a bus, and there'll be multiple buses, so you don't have to wait for the same one to make the trip. And you can park at the fairgrounds and come spend the day in downtown Marietta and not have to worry about trying to find a parking spot. Because, again, you're right, we're shutting down Putnam to Green on Front and Second. That's a lot of territory and parking lots.
We're always open on Sundays, usually from 12 to 4. It's going to be awesome seeing downtown a complete buzz on a Sunday. And I'm really hoping, crossing my fingers, that this maybe gets some other merchants to join us on those Sundays. Because right now, downtown on Sunday, it's us, Wit and Whimsy, and maybe a few other people. But there's not usually a lot going on Sundays in downtown. So this one's going to be absolutely huge. I hope people join us to start being open on Sundays. But if people want to learn more about the event, maybe see some pictures of the cars and things like that, where on social media is a great place for them to follow the Great Race?
Yeah, we have a Facebook page, Great Race of Marietta, LLC. You can find us on Facebook there, and we have been sharing as much as we can. We've got some drivers on there that kind of respond and sharing stuff from the big Great Race as they're getting ready to take off from Owensboro, Kentucky. But follow us there. If you need any information, you can reach out to us at the Facebook page, of course, Great Race of Marietta, LLC. Or we have an email, greatracemarietta@gmail.com, all one word. And we'd love to hear from you. And again, I can't say enough about First City Records and all you guys are doing, and jumping on the bandwagon real quick. And it's going to be a fun day, and it's rain or shine. These cars are coming in, and we just hope it's a beautiful, sunny, cool day in June. And but we're just really excited, and we can't thank the Marietta merchants or the businesses that have sponsored, and everyone's just been really great. And what a great day to let Marietta shine.
If you're wanting to be a part of the 2nd Street car show, where should people drive to? You said gates open around 8. Where should people drive to give that $10 entry fee?
Perfect. Yeah, we're going to the gates that will open will be at 2nd and Putnam. We've got probably 2 or 3 entrances already. We got volunteers set up where we can get the people in quickly. If you're a tractor, we're going to put you down on 3rd and Butler. You'll come in on that entrance just because logistically we can put some of your trailers. Marietta College was gracious enough to let us use all their parking lots. But I would, if you have a car and you're bringing it down, or a motorcycle or a Jeep, I would go to 2nd and Putnam. Gates open at 8, and we look for quite a group of people to be out there at 8 o'clock when we throw the gates open and get them in.
Yep. And like she was saying, the finish line is right there on Front Street. People will start showing up with their classic cars around 4 o'clock, or hopefully 4 o'clock right on the dot. Because it's not a hopefully. It's a this is part of the deal. So right around 4 o'clock is when the big push to get the racers into town. will be First City Records. We have Jake Dunn and the Blackbirds from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's kind of a end of the day. Come and join us. It's a free concert in the store. We'll have the air conditioning blasting so you guys can take a break from the heat. Still feel free to bring your own camp chairs if you want a camp chair. We have chairs here if you want to sit. It'll probably be standing room only because Jake Dunn and the Blackbirds are an amazing band, and they always bring in a great crowd. So is there anything else that you want to bring up, or do you think that we've got enough information?
I think we do. And if anyone else is needing more information, reach out on our Facebook page, Great Race of Marietta LLC. And thanks again for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
Yep. All right, Jill. That was Jill Watucky of the Great Race LLC in Marietta. And I want to throw it back to the studio. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll be back. All right. Thank you very much, Jill, for joining me at the store for that interview. Just wanted to let everybody kind of know what's going on at First City Records. We are in the process of buying out a struggling record store, and so things are going to be changing around the store. We're going to be changing up a lot of the flip bins and going to a more flip binny friendly style on the bargain side of things. But that means we're going to have thousands and thousands and thousands of records. So over the course of we'll announce more next week, but as we get them. But there's going to be thousands of records, and we're going to do them at rock bottom prices, the get 'em gone prices, because I mostly wanted this collection for their shelving. There's going to be a ton of deals to be had because I do not have the room for an entire other record store inside of my record store. So you guys definitely keep this on your radar. We'll know more once I actually see this stuff and once we actually get it down here. But we're hopefully going to go up this Thursday, and load up the biggest U-Haul they got, and bringing you another record store inside of a record store, at least until we can kind of go through everything and try to make sense of it. So that's kind of a big thing coming up for us. We got HORSEBURNER interview coming up right now. So if you're into HORSEBURNER, I'm a big fan of Adam and Jack. After talking to them for an hour and change last night, they are some really cool dudes, and learned a little bit about their musical taste and their growing up, and then obviously how the band formed, and now they're getting ready to release a brand new album this month that will be sold at First City Records and other places. And they have a release show coming up at Tracy's Pub. So take it away, Adam and Jack of the band HORSEBURNER. They can talk about all of that for you. All right, guys, we're back at First City Studios. Please welcome in the band HORSEBURNER. We got members Adam and Jack. Please welcome Adam and Jack. Thank you so much for coming by to the First City Podcast. You guys got a new album coming out. We're going to talk about that. But let's first just dive into the history of the band. When did you guys all get started? I know that I've seen you guys a few times, and one time it was in a garage, and then the cops were called. I don't have a memory of this. My wife told me about it just the other night when you said, hey, tell your wife happy birthday. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot you guys would know each other. They went to school together. And then the other time was at the Inferno down at 7th Street near the Kia parking lot. So yeah, history of the band. Welcome in.
Oh man. Yeah. So that garage show. What do you think, Jack? Think about 2009,
yeah,
2010?
We would have been a band about a year or so at that point, so 2009, 2010-ish. It was our friend Brett's garage off of Route 50 there, And
Yeah, we're young guns, you know, dragging full stack amplifiers to house shows and garage shows because we're dickheads, and blasting everybody's eardrums. And the cops showed up, and I think Brett thought it was no big deal, just like, hey, bring it down kind of thing, because no one had come and even asked us to turn down until that point. And so we kind of like shuts the door, or quote unquote slams the door in the cop's face. They like kick the door open, throw him outside, throw him on the ground, and we stop playing, and everyone's just like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
It was absolute insanity.
yep, show's done.
Yeah. And then the Inferno or Raiders, man, that
Was that what it was called? Raiders?
It was a couple different. It had like two or three different names over its 3-month existence or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, it never lasted very long because the location was suspect. Let's just call it suspect.
Yeah.
you'd think that'd be a good spot for shows. People walking around. But they're all
The ones walking around probably didn't have the cover money and
yeah.
One of the shows we played there was a New Year's Eve party, and we went on at like
11:45.
11:40ish. Like
metal ball dropping music. That sounds awesome.
it would have been great, but like they made us stop at like a minute before midnight so they could do a champagne toast and play Old Lang Syne
Oh,
over
shit.
the PA.
That's bull
And
crap. It should have been fireball shots. And
we had I think we had one song left in our set too, so like that celebration will happen and we
Played one more song.
one more song and then packed up.
I don't like to disparage
In
necessarily.
hindsight, we should have just called it a night after that.
how do we top Old Lang Syne, guys?
I always thought it was funny. The guy that ran that place did a flyer for one of the shows, and I'll always laugh because he put the name of the venue giant at the top of the flyer, and then all the band names were in like size 10 font at the bottom. And it was like,
At least
Cool,
he wasn't
man.
paying you with exposure.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Maybe I should have asked before I assumed.
It's hard to tell, man. That just seems so long ago because Jack and I have been doing this particular project since our band we were in together in high school and junior high collapsed in like 2007, 2008. And so it was late summer 2008 when this band started rehearsing for the first time.
yeah.
And then we started playing shows in 2009,
Yeah.
making bad decisions ever since.
Have you guys had commercial success? Do you have songs that have viral amounts of views? Like, I'm not a huge metal guy, so I've never really tracked and followed HORSEBURNER as a band. But when we talk about the local metal scene, that is the name that I hear in every conversation. So I assume that you guys have had some success along the way.
As the fates would have it, you are not the only person who has not followed our career.
Don't take it personally.
No. It is,
I have
the norm.
I have a dad joke, and my dad joke is, if I wanted to get yelled at, I'd just go home. I got 4 damn kids, and that's kind of the way it is with me. When I'm at home to listen to music, I mean, obviously you see there I got Smashing Pumpkins, but it's right next to Randy Newman, so there's just not much room left in my brain at the end of the day for loud music. So I mean, but there is a huge scene in this town. When I was coming up, there was so many underground shows, all ages shows. It kind of died for a bit, it seemed like, but the entire bar scene died. Took away smoking, and then the bar scene, the open mic scene, really took a hurting. But it seems like it's coming back, or it has been back for quite a while. And I sell more punk, rock, and metal records than anything in my store.
I went to your shop the other day for the first time. Awesome place. You had a, for this area, what I thought was kind of a surprising amount of hardcore and punk records. I was pretty stoked on
That
that.
whole hardcore section came from one guy. I bought out his entire collection.
There was so much Pig
excellent.
Destroyer.
I know. Oh yeah, and Agoraphobic Nosebleed.
Yeah.
And I actually bought 2 more collections this week. One that is sitting over there I haven't even brought to the store yet. That's more metal, punk, indie rock, and yeah, I'm excited to bring that stuff to the shop because it's bringing in a whole new group of people.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially as you guys are playing these bigger shows at these at these semi-local venues and local venues. So you guys are on your second album now, coming out.
Third
official,
third
Oh, okay.
Or fourth.
or fourth.
Depending on how you count it.
We consider our first CD that we did in 2009 kind of non-existent, but it's a split between
it exists.
Like, it's half EP, half
It's-
full length. It's like right between.
It's almost exactly 30 minutes, so I don't know if that counts as an EP or a full length.
Yeah,
Well,
and it's also not very good. So we don't like to talk
in the
about
world
it.
in the world of vinyl, it would be considered like a 10-inch size.
Yeah,
I would
exactly.
say.
Yeah.
exactly.
I would call it an EP
Yeah.
or whatnot. But
And we always did, but
and
then
that-
some people.
And that
Yeah.
one never got pressed to vinyl either, so it was just a
well, if you don't think it was that great, it's probably a good thing you didn't.
Yeah.
Because vinyl is not cheap. There's a long,
no, it's not.
There's a long wait time
Yep.
to get it done. The artwork is expensive. Just the whole process is tedious, time consuming, and very, very, very expensive. So
We self-produced and self-pressed a 7-inch back in 2013. And then when we did our first full-length record in 2016, we completely self-funded, self-recorded, self-released, did the whole thing, the vinyl, the CDs, all of it. It's a pretty heavy financial undertaking.
it is a big process.
So let's kind of go back more towards the beginning again, and I want to talk to you guys individually here. I'll talk to Jack, who is on the left here. What do you do in the band? Are you the singer, guitarist, drummer? I know you're the drummer, right? See, I don't even know.
I am the singer and I play guitar.
So when we were listening to that clip, that was you.
Uh,
It was both of us.
at the very beginning of that song, that's actually Adam doing the vocals on that. But
Okay.
But
we trade off.
yeah, I am definitely more of a, I think, background vocalist. Jack's a much better vocalist than I am, and drumming and singing is really difficult. So like on the
It is.
album, that intro was my vocal live. Jack has to do it because I can't do it and play the stupid fill that I wrote.
Yeah.
So-
Well, the fact that I'm already sensing that you guys are not only humble, but you're actually good friends as well, which is important for the longevity of any band.
Jack has been putting up with me since like 2001. So yeah.
All right, so let me get with you, Jack.
Yeah.
Here, let's talk a little bit about your upbringing. Where are you from, and what is your musical influences as you were growing up?
So I was born just outside of New Orleans, but then my family moved to the Parkersburg area back when I was probably about a year old because my dad was from here and wanted to move back closer to family. Yeah.
Okay. All right, and your musical influences. What
Oh,
were you
musical
listening?
influences,
What were you
sorry.
listening to before you had all these tattoos and the rock style, the rock grunge look to you? What did you grow up like?
I never like listened to a ton of music growing up until after my parents had bought me a guitar. And then like, that was when I was 12, I think. And then I got into like AC/DC, Metallica, Van Halen, Rush.
What's your favorite Rush
Sabbath.
album? I feel like knowing somebody's favorite Rush album, it tells a lot about a person because they go through phases and
It comes and goes, but the last couple of years, it's been Grace Under Pressure.
Same.
Yeah.
is that the one with the person's ass on the front?
No. That one is Hemispheres.
Hemisphere.
Yes.
Okay.
Chris?
Hemispheres is my favorite right now.
Okay,
Right
okay.
now.
Hemispheres was my favorite.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
I'm a Grace Under Pressure guy, but it'll change.
What were the hit songs on Grace Under? I'm more of like I see the album cover and then I'll instantly know which one I'm looking at here.
That
2112 is another one.
Yeah.
Of course.
Grace Under Pressure, I don't think that one even really had any hits on it.
But it's got After Image.
After Image, Distant Early Warning. That's the one that they played live a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool.
Red Sector A, I think
That
it's on
was that was the record where they really amped up the synths, and then it was. I thought the guitar works actually became more interesting at that point because Alex had to play around other things other than being center stage for most of the songs.
What did you think of Clockwork Angels? It's either love it or hate it.
Oh, I love that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of Rush fans that I know don't even. I maybe they don't know it as well.
Yeah.
But
I think they discounted because it came later, but
Yeah,
that
it's
album
definitely later.
is so good.
Yeah, if you're gonna go out on a high note, that was about the highest note you could ask for a 40-year-old band to go out on.
all right, so you got a guitar in your hand now for the first time.
Yeah.
You're getting into the heavier side of music. Give me 2 or 3 of your favorite guitarists of all times.
The first ones I really got really into were like Jimi Hendrix and Tony Iommi.
Black Sabbath, right?
Yes,
Oh
yes.
my goodness, yeah. Now, are you a Sabbath with Dio guy or a Sabbath with Ozzy guy?
I do
As
like.
he sits here with an Ozzy shirt on. So.
I am wearing an Aussie shirt. I do like Dio era Sabbath. A lot of people don't.
See, with me, when they got to the Dio era,
Yeah.
they really just kind of sounded like a metal band.
Yes.
Ozzy Sabbath and the early Sabbath, that it was so doom and gloom, and it didn't rely so much on the speed metal and just the brightness, the tinniness of the 80s metal sound. It was more doom and gloom, and that's where my heart is. Those early first few I would say up to Sabbath 4 for me.
Yeah.
But Dio's not bad. It's not that he's bad. It's just to me it just seems a little bit more generic in terms of what I would listen to.
Yeah, you could say that. I would say my favorite Sabbath song is actually a Dio song.
Oh, really? Which one?
Sign of the Southern Cross.
Is that a Mob Rules?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Okay, so you've said Tommy Iommi and
Hendrix.
Hendrix,
Yeah.
of course, Hendrix.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's. Who else? Give me one or two more.
Kirk Hammett. I blame him for all of my bad habits in guitar playing now because
But he had amazing hair.
He did.
He still does.
He still does.
Yeah, he's one of the few '80s guys that still has the look.
I spent my teenage years learning like every '80s Metallica song note for note, and so
Last week I got to interview the guitarist for the band Firehouse.
Nice.
Yeah, and my question to him was, how long did it take you guys to get your hair like that perfect and that big? And he went through the entire process of how
amazing.
It was like a 15-minute process of blow drying and sprays and all that stuff. So, okay, Adam, we're going to switch on over to you real quick. The drummer.
Yes, drummer / screamy, yelly guy in the back.
Okay, so we already know that you went to college with my wife, OVU,
which has closed.
Let's talk about that before I ask you your childhood questions. Okay, so a lot of people in this area have been hurt by that closing. They weren't able to get transcripts.
Yep.
And please tell me that nothing bad happened. Like Judy's is fine. Like she's been out long enough. I assume that you are as well. But
I actually had applied for a job last year that didn't go anywhere, but I needed my transcripts, and I had to send in copies that I've had because they don't exist anymore. Now, I was just told that there's a way to get them now officially, but I'm hoping,
black market OVU transcripts.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut about that whole situation, though.
Okay, so did you start on drums when you were younger, or did you start on guitar?
Yeah. So my dad played drums when he was a kid in a Beatles cover band.
Did they have the haircuts?
They had wigs.
Oh, okay.
And he would tell stories about that, and I just thought it sounded awesome. So I was in like 4th grade, and I asked for a drum set, but I was a real tiny little kid. So my dad got a kit, and I couldn't reach the bass drum pedal. I never really learned to play. But he played a little bit, but then they sold the kit. And then in 7th grade, we moved down the street from some kids that kind of got me into like punk and hardcore and stuff like that. Because until then, it'd been a lot of 90s country, and I still got a real soft spot for all that stuff. Love Garth Brooks and Alan Jackson, and Dwight Yoakam's like my favorite country artist of all time.
I call him the Yoke. I don't know if anybody else does, but yeah.
I'm gonna.
The Yoke.
He's such an amazing performer in all regards.
They just reissued all of his stuff too. So
I know. I already have all those records. So I thought about buying that box set, but I was like, oh, I have.
Well, they just re-released them individually. So if there's any you're missing or any that you don't want to spend like original pressings of, because they're like, I have a few in the store right now. They're like $75 to $100. Yeah.
It's worth it.
90s vinyl.
But there's a lot of Beatles and Elton John being played in the house too.
Yeah.
So that was the stuff that I kind of grew up on. And then my uncle got me an Aerosmith CD when I was in probably 4th or 5th grade that I liked a lot. But then 7th grade, I start hearing bands like Zayo, who if you're from Parkersburg and you get into hardcore, Zayo is kind of your gateway drug. And in a very full circle moment, we just got to open for them a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Highlight of my life. And the sweetest dudes. Great. Like they're a band still going since 93. Killing it. So good, even today. So 7th grade, I asked for a drum set again, and my mom's like, no, we tried that once. He didn't play it, yada, yada.
But Dad, I can reach the pedals now,
I can reach now. So Dad surprised me for Christmas that year with a new drum set, and I just never stopped. And now I spend like half my life in a van, God knows where, and my mom probably regrets giving in on that because...
All right. Well, before I ask you your musical influences, let me brag on you just a minute. I don't think we've ever actually officially met. We may have been in the same place. I mean, you don't have the type of face that I feel like we've had a conversation before, but anytime that I'm talking to anybody in the local music scene, your name is not only brought up, but it's brought up with superior high praise. I've never heard one bad thing about you. And I think this area is lucky to have y'all's talent. So I just wanted to share that with you, that in the 15 years I've been a musician, plus all these years now in the vinyl community, and just knowing everybody that's in the music scene, you're loved by basically everybody who's at least ever spoken to me.
Well,
So that's pretty
thank
cool.
you.
That's pretty cool.
That means a lot.
I'm gonna cry.
Sorry, Jack. I have not. I met you in my driveway about 35 minutes ago. But I guarantee people love you just as much. But all right, so back to Adam. Childhood influences with music. You said the Beatles, but when you started playing the drums, who were you emulating? Who were you listening to get some fills?
So let's see here. Definitely still the Beatles. Ringo, he's my guy. People want to talk down on Ringo all the time. They don't understand drums. If you're talking bad on Ringo, you don't get it.
Now, is it true that Ringo? I've heard the stories that Ringo, they would re-record his stuff over and over and over because he kept on getting it wrong and making mistakes, and just like over and over for hours, and everybody in the band was so mad at him.
Everyone now just talks about how solid he always was.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's, covering their tracks just because, rose-colored glasses and all that. But
This was stuff I've heard 10, 20 years ago. So
I think people want him to be bad. Like, people even make up this quote that John Lennon said something about he's not the best drummer in the Beatles, which wasn't even, I don't even think it was John that said that.
Paul tapping a pen, the pencil on the glass.
And Paul is an amazing drummer too.
He had great rhythm.
He really does.
I'm more of a Pete Best guy, really.
I like the Beatles before Ringo. No, man, he's so in the pocket, and he's such a unique player. The whole left-hand led fills. Like, I can't play like Ringo. Nobody can cop his feel. They try, but it's very unique, and it's simplistic. But it was also the 60s. Like, outside of the big band drummers, I don't think anybody was super setting the world on fire in 63, 64.
All right, so we got Ringo Starr.
Okay,
Who
so
else?
Jesse Smith, who played in Zayo up until like 2003, who is now like a buddy of mine, which is really cool to say.
Yeah.
He hit the drums so hard, and I loved that. It was a lot of the local dudes. I'm trying to think of the bands that were really, because people come up and they have these hero bands, but all my bands that I worshipped were like local-ish bands. The Minus Tide, who was a West Virginia stalwart for years. Dave Klug on drums, one of my heroes on the drum set. Just so many of those guys.
Well, how would you hear their music apart from seeing them live? Did they have CDs out? Because obviously the world of digital music wasn't as prevalent back then.
Wasn't what it is now, but I've always been a computer guy, and so I was in a lot of stuff on mp3.com and things like that, like hearing these bands.
I remember that site.
Yeah, it's the second interview in a little while if I brought that site up. But it would be going to shows. We would go to shows like every weekend at the all ages venues like Caffeine Kelly's.
That place pisses me off. I had my wallet stolen from there. It was an all ages punk show. I don't remember who was playing. I think it was probably Logan's band. But
Middle Pain?
Yeah, I got my wallet stolen,
That tracks.
I was the teenage guy that would have my social security card in my wallet like an
Of
idiot,
course.
like an idiot.
Gotta have that on you.
So yeah, I lost my wallet, my social security card, and my license. You can't get a social security card without a license. You can't get a license without a social security card. I didn't have utilities in my name at 19 years old. So that place, every time I drive by, I give it the old middle finger as I cross the bridge there. And
Oh man.
but no, I had a lot of fun there. I had a lot of fun at that place. That's a cool venue.
The first shows I went to, I was playing, because instead of doing the thing that most people do where they learn a bunch of Metallica songs or Led Zeppelin songs, I got a drum
dove in
set
head
and
first.
just started making bands that were terrible.
Yeah.
And so,
What was your first band's name?
oh man, Excoriate, which is Latin for tearing of flesh, because we were really cool.
Well, that's way cooler than the band name that I came up with my friend Ben. Sons of Satin. Satin. Sons of Satin. We were
Love
a
it.
Nirvana cover band.
Oh, that's sick though.
Love it.
Yeah, so my first band, we were literally, our first show, we played a junior high dance, and we were laughed off stage because we were so bad. And then the girl I was dating at the time broke up with me as soon as I got off the stage.
That's when you know you know.
I'm in it for the long haul.
Yeah, if you keep on trekking off after that, I mean,
and I'm gonna pat myself on the back here. At 13 years old, to keep going from
took some
that
balls,
moment,
yeah.
boot off the stage and dumped within an hour, and I'm like, yep, I'm still gonna do this until I die. Like, come on, I'm a lifer.
Yeah, shameless self-promoter, lifer, whatever.
It's all the same, man.
It really did take some balls to get back on the horse there after that. At 13, when every single day at school
It's a living nightmare.
living nightmare.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. The guys from Mental Pain would, in my eyes, were the coolest kids in school.
Same.
They had the checkered Hot Topic pants with the chains all over, the tallest freaking mohawks you can imagine. And here I am with my piddly $2 dog collar wrist thing and black fingernails, and I'm like, I'm hardcore too, guys.
So my second band, Subconscious,
Okay.
was
That's a good name.
right. Not good music, but good name.
Yeah.
We
It's a good career path too.
we
Psychology.
we played Caffeine Kelly's a lot at the time, and we would play with Mental Pain. And I remember one time they had been banned because they had destroyed something. This was after Kelly's had moved to the new location above the My Way. And I didn't know they had been banned. And so Subconscious played. And then they came up after we finished. We're like, hey, can we use your stuff and play a set? And we were like, sure, because we didn't know any better. And then so they started playing. and then they
Why
got
don't they
kicked
have
off
their
the
own
stage.
stuff? I wonder.
So yeah, I love those dudes though. I'm in another band called Becker. It's like a pop punk kind of power pop kind
I've
of thing.
heard of Becker, yeah.
And we actually name dropped Middle Pain in a song that
That's
we're
amazing.
working on right now. So I'm pretty stoked on that.
Yes.
So power pop. When I hear power pop indie, like indie rock power pop sound, I think of immediately Jeff Rosenstock. Are you a fan? Are you a fan of Jeff Rosenstock at all?
That's a guy. There's a lot of bands that are on my radar, and I hear them, and I'm like, this is cool. But then I don't go out of my way to dig deeper. I'm just like, if it comes on, cool.
Yeah.
He is one of those that I always want to dig deeper. I just haven't yet.
Listen to the album Post.
Deal.
That was my album of the year. I believe it was 2019, 2019, something like that. But that's where I would recommend starting with.
Done deal.
All right, so you guys, how did you guys meet? Well, not just you two. How did the whole band meet? Let's talk about the true backstory. Was it a Tenacious D kind of thing? You were standing on the boardwalk, playing horrible music, and you cock pushed up your way up here to Jack, and
So I'll let Jack
So
talk
we-
here in just a second. But
we had originally met through our mutual friend Matt.
so we still play in a band with Matt actually.
Yes, the three of us
From-
are still in another band
2002
together.
to now, the three of us play in a black metal band called Phasm.
Yes.
okay,
Don't worry, we're not one of those black metal bands. We're not like a racist Nazi band. You really got to watch out with that stuff with black
Yeah,
metal.
yeah.
You hear a band you like, and you're like, "Oh, this band's really cool." Oh no, another one. But we were in a band,
like
really.
brand new, right?
Oh, dude, don't get me started on that. I love that band, and I'm so mad about
me
the whole
too.
situation.
Same with Sorority Noise.
Oh God, yeah, we actually kind of like. I don't know those dudes, but we had some mutual friends with those dudes, and when that all went down with the Old Gray and Sorority Noise, oh, whoo! People, stop being creeps and Nazis. Just don't be rapists. Don't be
Yeah.
Nazis. It's not that hard.
None of the above. Don't do any of that.
It's like the Warped Tours. Like, just leave it alone.
You can't. What's the joke? Like you can't book a Warped Tour 20 feet within a school or something like that.
Pretty much. Unfortunately. Anyway, let's get back to
right.
Horseburner.
So
Sorry,
now
I keep interjecting here.
Now that
so-
we've gone off way down the darker path, so I'll let Jack talk. But that band that we were in at first was called Prison, for Independence, because we knew what that meant at
Yeah.
13 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's just say Horseburner's been your best idea yet.
The fact that Horseburner is the best band name
know.
in our history is pretty sad.
And we also have to credit Matt with that. We
Yeah,
didn't
Matt
even
came up
come
with that name.
it. And he's not even in the band.
All right, Jack, fill me in. How did y'all meet, and how did Horseburner become a thing?
Like I said, Adam and I, we met because of Prison for Independence.
What a sentence.
We
It's like System of a Down and Rage
Kind
Against
of.
the Machine had a
Kind
baby.
of, kind of. But yeah, we've that was how we met. That ended up dying. We started another band called it was called Time Falls Short, and then changed its name to Kill or Cure.
Killer Cure?
To kill,
To Kill
or
or
cure.
Cure.
Oh.
Yeah. And that we had an okay run with that. We didn't play much outside of Parkersburg, but yeah.
From time to time.
What was that? Yes. All right. So yeah, what about you, Adam? When you guys got started, did you immediately go to start playing gigs? Like, how long were you guys practicing before you felt comfortable enough to really get out there and start honing your chops locally?
With To Kill or Cure?
No, with Horseburner.
Oh,
Well, with HORSEBURNER,
HORSEBURNER started as 4 out of the 5 members of To Kill or Cure,
Yeah,
just
so-
trying a different genre essentially.
so the chemistry was still there.
So-
It's just I sang only in that band, and then I just went back to playing drums.
Yeah.
For HORSEBURNER to start. So the chemistry was already there, and I feel like the first few songs came together pretty quick.
Yeah, we actually like that whole first not full length EP, whatever it is. I think we wrote musically we wrote that over the course of maybe 2 or 3 months, and then
Who does the writing for the band? Is it a collaborative effort?
It always has been.
yeah.
We've gone, so kind of our thing, I know you haven't really followed us, but kind of our hallmark is how many bass players we've had.
My buddy Rob Howard.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Rob.
He's the reason I went to the Inferno show or whatever it was.
Until recently, I think until a couple of years ago, Rob was our longest tenured bass player. But we're on bass player 9 or 10 now, I think.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah, there's
guitarist
been-
3 or 4.
I think there's been 5 permanent bass players,
And a lot of
lots of-
friends
lots
with
of-
talent who were nice to us and
lots
subbed.
of touring fill-ins.
Well, as you are in your 20s, getting into your 30s, I mean, it's a natural progression to either A, commit to the band, commit to making music, or B, start a family,
Yeah.
try new things.
And I don't begrudge anyone
Right.
who
Oh,
has
no.
left the band, because like trying to be a full-time touring band kind of sucks.
Yeah.
We're just masochists and like it, you know? But so Zach Kaufman, who is one of our best friends in the world, he was our other guitar player until 2019. And we had a couple of fill-ins here and there when he couldn't do shows. And then we got Matt Strobel from down in Huntington has been our guitar player since then.
How is it having an out-of-towner in the band when you're trying to not only just collaborate, write songs, but also recording, booking shows? How hard is it with somebody that's 2 hours plus away?
It can get kind of rough.
It gets
Yeah.
pretty rough. And our bass player is also 2 hours away in the opposite direction
Yes.
in Morgantown.
Yeah.
Ryan Aliff. It's really difficult to get
Yeah,
together for practices.
and
when
I
everybody
applaud
works
both of them
full-time.
because I mean that's a
That's a commitment.
4-hour
is.
commitment out of your day, not including the practice itself, just driving.
And
to
after
get-
working
Yeah.
like an 8-hour shift or
yeah,
whatever
because
at a day job
they
to
all
come
have,
here.
They
like,
have jobs
it's,
too. And
It's
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
It's a lot.
Now, how important in your genre of metal is the lyrics? Because as a singer songwriter myself, I mean, I don't care. I could play GDC. It's all about the words. How important to you, not to just the genre, is the actual words that you're saying and that you're writing?
it seems to get more important as time goes on with the band. I feel like at first we put 0 effort into them.
Yeah, like
And-
almost none.
Now we're putting at least like 15% effort into them.
We're really selling that second album, boys.
So
I love it.
Judy knows I'm an English major. I'm a theater guy. Like I'm a big dork, right? So for the last 2 records, I have kind of fleshed out the majority of the lyrics. And we do like the conceptual thing because again, we're big Rush fans. I'm a huge Coheed and Cambria fan. We really like storytelling, right? It's easy to just be super there like Satan, weed, bleh, like that's lame. So instead, I'm writing these like fantastical mini novellas because that's not lame or weird at all. But lyrically, yeah, I put a lot of pressure on myself to try to get that right, and then Jack puts the pressure on, I feel, to get the performance that makes everything work. And with every album, I feel like we've really stepped up that vocal performance.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Especially like this time, I'm gonna give all the credit in the world to this dude. He nailed like one of the songs. It was actually the Hidden Bridges, that second single we released. I had this idea for the vocals. It was like, I can't do this, but I think you can. And he just nailed it. And I'm so happy every time I hear that song.
I have a quick question that just kind of popped in my mind. You said that you used to be the lead singer in that former band. What was the transition like going from being the front man to the man furthest in the back? Is it like a relief?
In a way, I am a very kinetic performer, I think I'd say. I'm very physical. And so when I was only encumbered by a microphone, it was great. We would play like skate parks. I would be climbing ramps, doing backflips off stuff, just going nuts. Now I'm stuck in a seat. So that's the adjustment.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to put out the same energy level. It's just confined to one spot now.
Controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Trying not to speed up, slow down, trying not to get in your own head so much that you forget where you're at.
Which all that happens. The speeding up, especially when you get the adrenaline rushing and everything like that. But yeah, that is an adjustment. I always played drums in other bands while I was singing in that band, but this being the main project we've had for so long and done the most with and toured all over the place with and released records that have shipped all over the world. Like, yeah, it's a difference, but it's cool and it's kind of a welcome one.
Yeah. And last year, I joined our bass player Ryan's other project called Speed Bleeder. It's like a death thrash metal band based out of Morgantown, and I'm just doing vocals in that, which is wildly different for me. I'm so used.
Is it freeing having your hands, or is it terrifying?
It's weird. It's really weird to get used to. I gotta. This is audio only, but I gotta like hold the invisible oranges. Do the kind of metal posing during the set.
So metal.
No,
Instead of oranges, you can call them orbs.
Yeah.
The fireballs.
No, I'm so used to being like tethered down to like being plugged into a cable somewhere, and yeah.
And that's another thing.
And during instrumental breaks, I gotta find something to do entirely with myself. I can't because I'm not playing anything.
Do the thing James LeBray used to do in Dream Theater during the like 20-minute solo breaks. He'd just go sit on a couch on the side of the stage.
Oh, that'd be great. That sounds right up my alley.
I want to give it up to Jack also because Jack was a pretty shy teenager, ripping guitar player, but
and now I'm a pretty shy 30-something.
I gotta say, you definitely are a fellow introvert. I can fake it really well, usually after 2 beers.
Yes.
But you sitting beside me, I truly feel the introvertedness.
Shot of bourbon and a whatever is the cheapest thing they got at the bar. That's my vocal warm-up nowadays.
Are you do you put on a facade, a character when you're on stage?
I have to. I can't be myself.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Nobody wants to see that.
But that's
I got
what's
one
so great.
Good, go
like
ahead.
he just from going from that shy teenager
Yeah.
to learning how to be this what I think like monster of a front man.
Yeah.
With a guitar, without.
I don't have the theater acting background that Adam has, so it's very much on the job training.
And it's been a natural progression, and he's just I don't know. I love watching it every night. Like the old cliche of I got the best seat in the house, but I really do.
Because you get to stare at my butt.
I was gonna say, do you
night.
wear leather pants or something?
I've encouraged that. No one will go with the leather for me.
Yeah.
What about makeup? Do you do eyeliner, any of that stuff?
He should.
Not yet. We'll see.
All right. I got a good question for you, Jack. It'll be for both of you, but I want to start with you. I don't know how many shows y'all have played, but it sounds like you're professionals. You have played probably hundreds of shows.
We have a list, actually.
Yeah. It's over 400 at this point.
All right.
Yeah.
So name upwards of 5 of your favorite gigs that you've all played for the reason of not only maybe the crowd was great or who you opened for, who opened for you. Name a couple shows that really, truly mean something to you that you'll never forget.
Let's see. We played a fest in Austin, Texas, 2 summers ago, where the Sword was the headliner of the night.
Oh, I love
And
the Sword.
they were-
I got to see them with Primus right before they broke up.
That was like one of the very last shows they did before they broke up too. So
cool,
we take credit for them breaking up.
I feel like they saw us and were like, if that's what we've inspired, we're done.
Yeah. But no, that was cool. That's a cool one of those. You get to open for a band that was a big influence on your.
And they're another
sound.
storytelling type band.
Yeah,
Yes, they
yeah,
are.
for sure.
All right, so we got the Sword. Let's go with another one.
I think the aforementioned Zayo show was
Was that a local?
It was up in
that
Morgantown.
was in Morgantown. Yeah, that was a good one. We played with Skeleton Witch from Athens a handful of times over the years. Those were always great shows. What else? What else have we done? That's cool.
It's one of those things, man, where when you go to a bunch of shows, when
I
you
know.
play a bunch of shows, sometimes they all start to run together, especially when
Yeah.
you're out for like 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, and it's like it's just all a blur.
I was talking to the guy Mick from Uriah Heep the other day, and he was telling me there's like we're in Austria, and then we're in this, and then we're in this, and I wake up and we're here, and then we. Can you imagine? And then he's like, oh, then they fly us to America, and then when they put us on a tour or a cruise ship for 2 weeks, and then when we get back, we're coming to play Marietta. I'm like, geez, man, it's like you're 77 years old and you have no idea what country you're even in, and I'm talking to you at 5 a.m. because he's in Austria. I couldn't imagine it. I mean, all right, so let's get another one. Feel free to jump in with some of yours as well.
Yeah,
I would definitely put the Zayo show that we just played. I know it's recent, but
Yeah.
again, it was a very full circle moment for
it
me.
was.
We've played with Skeleton Witch a couple times and got to be, buddies with those dudes. And the last time we played with them in Athens, the show sold out, and that was just awesome.
Yeah.
Another recent one, I think it was last year, we played Magbar Fest, which is one of our favorite places in Louisville. And it was just like, I don't know, it was all of our friends. It was so many bands and the vibes were so good. The crowd was great.
Yeah.
It was just a really good night.
The first Huntington show that we played after shows that started coming back after COVID, I think that was a really good one.
How did you guys get through COVID? Did you do any digital shows, any of that, or were you just on hiatus?
We did one.
It's a little hard for
yeah.
bands that aren't acoustic based or
We did.
Adam and I worked for like a week straight
Yeah.
trying to get the video audio mix working together
Synced
before
up so it could
before
go
the live
live.
stream happened.
Because it was a live, it wasn't just film and send in, it was a
Yeah.
live show. And we did it with
Sorry.
2 other bands. We did it with Howling Giant from Nashville, Tennessee, who are some of our favorite people, and they're playing
And
Parkersburg.
they gave us a lot of guidance through that too, because they do like the Twitch stream thing every week if they're not on the road. Yeah.
And then Jake the Hawk, who were some friends from Pittsburgh. So we did like a 3-band bill online. It was super cool.
Yeah.
We did one for Metal Injection, their Slay at Home series. We did a song for that.
Oh yeah.
Slay at home.
Slay at home.
What a way! That's a great tagline.
Yeah, COVID was rough on everybody, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be grateful that I didn't lose anybody close to me
Yes.
to the disease or anything like that. But as far as professional stuff goes, we were 2 weeks away from our first European tour when the borders shut down.
Have you been able to fulfill that dream since? It
Not
just
yet.
hasn't happened yet.
Not yet. Hopefully, maybe next year.
Yeah.
If
Next year's the goal.
this record has some legs, hopefully next year we can make it over there finally.
All right. So on that note, we are going to take a short break. We're at the 45-minute mark, and we're going to end this Act 1 on that cliffhanger before we come back from break, and we're going to talk about the new album, and I have a handful of other questions we're going to ask the guys, so we'll be back in just a second. First City Records is your #1 source for all new and used vinyl, CDs, cassettes, and more. 90% of our inventory is now available online. Check us out 24 hours a day at firstcityrecordstore.com or come and see us at 166 Front Street in downtown Marietta. Through the week, we are open 10 a.m. to 5:30, Saturdays 10 to 6, and Sundays noon to 4. We're not just a record store. First City Records. right, we're back from break, and that was the new single from HORSEBURNER off their latest LP that's coming out in June.
June 21st.
There we go. We're going to talk about it here in just a minute. The song was called Hidden Bridges. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. And we're back in the studio, and my first question is going to be for Jack. Jack, give me, we're building a playlist together. Give me 5 songs that you're into that always ends up either on a playlist or that you're into today. All right. So we had to do a quick edit there. One of my kids is dressed up as Spider-Man, and he just jumped down the stairs and did the spider pose. So, all right, Jack.
As one does.
Give us up 5 songs that you are either currently obsessed with that we would put on our playlist to get to know you.
So recently I've listened to a lot of the song Nomad from Death from Above, 1979. Came out a while back. It was off of a Eric Valentine produced record, and he's like one of my favorite engineers, and it's just the bass tone on that is just absolutely crushing. And it's like they're not usually that kind of band, but for some reason that song is the heaviest thing in the world. Our friends Restless Spirit, they put out a new record last year, I believe. That's called After Image.
Not a Rush cover.
Not a Rush cover.
Which I bet they would do really well.
They probably would have. But our label mates in Abrams, they just put out a killer new record called Blue City.
It's so good.
You should absolutely
It's
check that
not
out.
like it's metal, but it's not metal, that's my thing. Because like you were saying earlier, I'm actually not that into metal, really.
Yeah.
It's more like hum than anything else, and I love hum.
Yeah.
So
Been listening to a lot of Jimmy Eat World lately, which is weird.
Hell
That's
yeah,
a very Adam band to listen to. That's not usually up my alley, but
Are we talking early Jimmy World, like Clarity, or are we talking more pop punky,
like
sound?
or earlier
more
stuff.
emo-y?
Yeah.
hey, don't discount those new records though.
Oh,
Surviving
I'm
is
not,
so good.
right.
I'm not.
I've been a sucker for NXS the last couple years.
Really?
Yeah, I've been real into them. Really, Shabu Shaba, that album just is killer from start to finish. And I'm just gonna say, listen to High Spirits. That's the greatest driving band of all time.
Oh my god, great answer.
Yes.
Okay.
We actually, side note, we just got to play in New York City, which we hadn't been up there for 2 years, I think.
Yeah, it's been
and we
a while.
got to play with one of Professor Black from High Spirit's other band, Dawnbringer,
Yeah.
and our good friends in Worshipper from Boston, and that was an awesome show. Yeah.
All right, Adam, give us a couple of tracks that would be on your playlist that people can get to know you by.
Okay, so I go through album phases, not really song phases, but I'll try to narrow it down. So Gaslight Anthem is one of my favorite bands, and
That's kind of surprising. I mean, I love Brian Fallon too.
I love Brian Fallon, dude. What's the Local Honey? His last solo record came out. I don't think I've ever ordered a record so fast after hearing one song.
I'm a Painkillers guy. That album,
Painkillers
from
is
beginning
so
to
good.
end, is one of the best singer-songwriter albums that's ever.
Have you checked out Local Honey?
I haven't. No.
Listen
I
to
didn't
it.
even know he had a new one. I own a record store and I didn't even know.
It's maybe 2020, maybe 2021.
Oh, okay, so
I heard-
pre-record store. Okay.
It's his. I think it's his record of like I'm a dad now.
Is
which
it white with the black?
Yeah.
Because I have it in the store.
It's-
I've never listened to it. No.
I heard one song and immediately ordered that LP. It is so good. The new Gaslight Anthem record, because they came back, I did not like it first. I thought it was kind of like uninspired, kind of low energy.
Overpolished.
No, not even that. Just like kind of like it's a little too laid back. But I gave it a couple more chances. I'm completely obsessed with that record right now. So if I had to pick one song from that record, I'm going to go with Michigan 1975. It's one of the real quiet. It's more like one of his solo albums almost than a Gaslight Anthem record.
Okay.
And that song in particular reminds me of his like softer solo stuff. So Michigan 1975 by the Gaslight Anthem. For the past like 10 months, I've been fell in love with Coheed and Cambria, who I was a big fan of back in like 06, 07, or from like 03 to 2007. I was a huge fan. Fell out for a few years. Got real into them a couple years ago again. The Pavilion from Unheavenly Creatures would be a song that I've been listening to a lot on repeat.
Okay.
So we got Gaslight Anthem. We got Coheed. I was going to say the Abrams record, but Jack did that.
You can say that one too. It's good enough to mention twice.
I see it over there, but it's a record that I go back to like at least once a week. Wildflowers by Tom Petty. and the song Wildflowers. So I'd put that one on there.
When that box set came out, okay, so an original pressing of Wildflowers by Tom Petty until that reissue finally happened was anywhere between $200 and $400 because they didn't make very much vinyl in the 90s, right?
Right.
So when that came out and they had the standard edition, the deluxe edition, and then the Insanity Deluxe edition that has 10 LPs in that thing, I said, I've been a good boy. I have not bought an original pressing all these years. I'm going to go ahead, support Elmer at the Sound Exchange, and I'm going to buy the big boy. And by God, I did. And I've still only ever listened to the main album. I've never. So there's 9 LPs in there. I have not even listened to the second album. So live and learn. I won't. I wouldn't have done it again. I shouldn't have done it. But
You did it, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I supported a friend. So
Yeah.
I had satellite radio in my last vehicle, and it would pretty much stay parked exclusively on the Tom Petty station for weeks at a time. So I'm pretty sure.
you know how you know you're old when
Not in order, but I'm pretty sure I've heard every song on there.
you realize that you're old when you turn on 106, the classic rock station, and Last Dance with Mary Jane is the lead-in track. I mean, I get Free Fall, and it was like 83, 84, but Last Dance with Mary Jane, it was like 93.
Yeah.
It was like 93 was only like 12 years ago, guys. I mean,
Or you tune into the classic rock station, and it's Green Day.
oh,
It hurts.
yeah, Blink 182 is like, I got to go in for my prostate exam. And it's not like it used to be talking about prostates, and now it actually is talking about prostates and stuff. Dick and ass jokes, but okay. Anyway, you guys still got a few more.
William Matheny is one of my favorite songwriters from the state and maybe ever.
I have everything he's ever put out ever, and I'm trying to get Born of Frustration put on vinyl, but that's like, I don't want to say it's beneath him, but he's kind of moved away from that sound.
Yeah. If I had to pick a track off of his new record, because every song in there's amazing,
So good.
I'm gonna say "Grand Old Feeling," just because I love that song, and I was waiting for it to hit a recorded version after I'd heard it live.
I think Bud Carroll might be my favorite current guitar player, and
Same.
I'm not talking just about local guys either.
He's the man.
He's
I love Bud.
incredible.
Absolutely.
Love Billy. Love Bud. Love Clint. Clint's a great drummer.
What
His
about
whole band's great.
From his last album, Strange Constellations, Living Half to Death. William Matheny, Living
Song
Half to
is
Death.
so good.
Okay, so when I went and saw them, he played on the Mountain Stage, and Larry Gross says that's his new favorite song. And honestly, it has everything that I need in a song. It's got amazing writing, lyrics that make you think about your childhood and your teenage years. Like, it takes you back to good places. And that freaking driving drum beat, like, it's so simple.
Yeah.
It is a Tom Petty song. Like, in my mind, like it's a simple song with simple arrangements, but it's done in such a way that it's all perfect.
Yeah.
And I really think that, in my opinion, that'd be top 20 songs in my life, because it just checks all my boxes.
He does everything a songwriter needs to do, I think. And he's a killer guitar player. Like, he gets the best guitar players to play with him, but then he rips a solo, and it's like, oh, didn't see that coming.
Right.
I have one more song to pick.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say, go listen to "Darkness on the Edge of Town" by Bruce Springsteen, because I was on a Springsteen kick this week.
Okay. No, I'm glad that you chose something that I've heard of. No. That is a great choice. Bruce is another one of those guys that either you love him or you hate him. There's very little middle ground with his voice, his kind of rigid singing style.
I love it.
I love it, but I got to be in the mood for it.
Sure, I get that.
But anytime I need to be in a good mood, I watch the Dancing in the Dark video with the black sax player that's like clapping over his head.
Yeah,
Or is that,
absolutely.
I absolutely love that video. It just makes me smile every time I see him. He's just so happy.
I love it. And it's like, and it's I don't know, the absence of saxophone solos in like mainstream rock music.
Yeah.
It can be overdone. It really can. But I feel like the E Street Band was just really good at it.
It hasn't been overdone in a while, though.
No, not since
So
Skull was on the radio.
Somebody should overdo it again.
Dave Matthews Band, obviously, they do their sax and whatnot. Trying to think. Oh, the Greens. The Greens, when another local Morgan County
Yeah.
band, they used to have a sax player when they first started with Fruition. That album, I mean, man, there's killer sax solos on that album. But yeah, there really is not much sax on the radio.
No.
Sax on the radio. That's almost as good as Sons of Satin. Sax on the radio. All right. Well, just a minute ago, you guys had kind of mentioned that you had label mates. So tell us about this record label that you guys are on.
So the record label is called Blues Funeral. They're based out of Albuquerque. And we had talked to the owner, Jad, before online, but we had finally met him in person at the aforementioned Ripple Fest that we played in Austin, where the Sword headlined. Yeah, and that was where we met in person, and
So signing up for a
that's where the ball got rolling on that, I suppose.
So
Yeah.
actually, the last label that we were on, Ripple Music out of California, that did The Thief.
Ripple did for Poobah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we love Todd and we love the Ripple gang. And, I talked to Todd when we switched labels that it was, absolutely nothing personal. And we loved our time with them and everything. Jad, who runs Blues Funeral, also works for Ripple.
Yeah, he works with a couple different labels, Ripple being one of them.
Magnetic Eye.
Yes.
And actually, Jad is who I talked to when we signed with Ripple.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I realized that maybe you didn't know that. That's how we got with our last label was Jad. And so this time when we were kind of like, I think after COVID, we just wanted to do something different,
Yeah.
And so we originally had planned on signing with Magnetic Eye, which Jad runs the day-to-day operations of. But then he had the idea to bring us onto the label that he owns, which is Blues Funeral. And I really like working with him because he's really driven and ambitious, and like if he signs you, like he's gonna push your band, and sometimes more than you might want to push yourself.
Yeah,
but
and
I like that.
I think it's kind of good because it is a smaller label, but in that way, it's kind of advantageous because in his mind, it's also kind of sink or swim with every release that he puts out. So he's gonna push that as far as he can.
So signing a record deal in 2024, especially one that is kind of so far away from home, I don't know how far you can really get into the details of your deal, but what are the expectations of an artist that has a record deal who's still considered like local, regional? Like what are they asking of you?
So Ripple wasn't asking much. Todd is one of the biggest music lovers I've ever met. And he just loves music so much, and he puts out records.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of Todd's bands don't really tour.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with Jad, but we were a touring band. It's what we do.
Yeah.
And with Jad, I feel like that was kind of the expectation of like get out on the road.
There is more of an expectation with that with Blues Funeral, but it's also not necessarily like a requirement. But it's more of a handshake kind of, hey,
get out there and do your thing.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll promote you. You promote yourselves.
Yeah, like we're all in this together, essentially. So,
wow, that's what I love about small indie labels, indie bands. If you go to Bandcamp and message an artist, or when you buy an artist or buy an album from Bandcamp and it's coming from the home address of the lead singer, that's the kind of bands that I love to support, because usually it comes with like a handwritten note, like. And this is they respect that you're buying directly from them, and I just love getting those little love notes and the boxes coming from the artist itself. Like he packed it. Like,
oh yeah,
he wrote it. He recorded it. He probably spent a shit ton of money helping getting it made. He's the one packing it. He's the one writing your name on the label. He's the one shipping it out to you. It's such a cool thing.
Yes.
And if you buy a record from HORSEBURNER, there will guaranteed be cat hair stuck in the tape that I use to tape the box
what about
together.
Adam hair?
yeah.
They're probably that too.
All right, so you have a new album coming out. Let's talk about what is it called? Where can people buy it? And let's talk about the inspiration behind the album.
The new album is called Voice of Storms. You can buy it. You can pre-order it right now at bluesfuneral.com or at our Bandcamp.
Okay,
And I
which
think-
is HorseBurner.
HorseBurner.bandcamp.com.
And I think the pre-orders, wow, I can't talk. Pre-orders started shipping out early, like this week. So
Yeah.
Sweet.
if you've got it pre-ordered, it should be
So
showing up soon.
The pre-order is more like an order at this point, I guess you might want
By
to
the
call.
time this airs,
I'd like to post pre-order that, please.
Yes.
yeah, we have copies of the album in the store as well. And my 15-year-old employee is the one that said, "That's the new one. You can't have it out yet." I'm like, thanks for reminding me. So yes, First City Records will have the brand new HorseBurner album when I'm allowed to release it and put it out to the world. I'm stoked that you guys came to me and wanted to work with us. And I hopefully, like your record label, is all about the local artist and making sure that you guys get not only the finances from the album, but also just the respect and the same amount of marketing as I would put into, say, a new Taylor Swift album coming out. I don't have to do shit for those. They know they're coming, right? But that doesn't stop them from asking.
Hey,
how many copies?
When is this going to air? Do you know?
2 days, Monday or Wednesday.
Okay.
Today's Monday. It'll air this
Okay, cool.
Wednesday morning.
Okay, so on this note, I want to talk about First City being awesome. Because like I said, I went in there the other day. I've been wanting to check it out. Finally went in. Awesome selection. Really good stuff. Friendly staff. So through some conversations, we're doing a release show here in Parkersburg on June 21st when the record drops. And we have not played in Parkersburg in 5 years. So we're hoping to make it a pretty big deal.
Where are you playing at?
Tracy's Pub on 7th Street, the former Sixpence.
In the back of the back room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be called the Pump Room when I was a kid.
What a sexually suggestive name.
Yes.
The Pump Room.
But we, for people that don't know this yet, First City is kind of our presenting sponsor for the show. So thank you to First City for
thank
helping
you.
us bring this show. And like you said, it's kind of the symbiotic, speaking of Spider-Man falling down the stairs, this kind of
Yes.
symbiotic relationship that I think needs to happen.
Absolutely. And I put this out there for everybody, but being a kind of a former local musician, and I've never had anything out on physical media except for the CDs I burned myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living vicariously through you guys, and if the shoe was on the other foot, I would like to think that most of you guys wouldn't focus on the finances as much as getting as much local art to local hands as possible. So that's why I'm just like, I don't want any, I'm not taking anything from you guys. And that's the way I do it with everybody, because I just truly feel like there should be at least one avenue in your life where people aren't trying to make money off of your talent and
Wouldn't
your
that be-
art.
Or just in general, just people, right?
Yeah.
If there was just one thing that existed other than a library that wasn't designed to just take money from you.
How do you guys digest your music? Are you vinyl people, CD people, radio people, digital people? Where are you at with your music collecting and listening?
Mostly Spotify, which I feel terrible about.
Don't. No, I my Spotify account
As
is a
someone-
write-off for my business. We're cool.
As someone who has music on Spotify, I feel bad about using Spotify as a service because they're the worst one.
But you can just like loop your own band while you sleep on mute and just rack up those
That's true.
fractions
Pennies.
of a penny.
Yeah.
But then
And-
I can't share my Wrapped at the end of the year because it's just going to be all me. It's like, look how full of himself this guy is.
But we travel so much. Spotify's kind of the easiest way to get music while we're on the road. At home, I love listening to my record collection.
And I mean, I'm a gig worker through the week, so I mean, I'm in my car all the time anyway. So that's the best way to go about it.
Do you guys listen to your own music? There's artists out there and actors out there that refuse to watch their own movies because they can't stand seeing themselves. Do you look back at your former music and your current music, and are you like the super proud parent, or are you like, I could have done this better, I could have done this better?
Yes and no. It really comes and goes. Like there's like I've listened to the new record even after we've signed off on it being all done and whatnot. I've still listened to it a bunch just because I really enjoy how it sounds, and I'm really stoked on how it came out sonically and all that.
Shout out to our engineer and co-producer Neil Turry at Amish
Yeah,
Electric Chair
Neil
for
did-
just doing a fantastic job.
Neil did a fantastic job on it.
And, Billy-
everybody involved did a bang up job on it.
Billy Joe Bowers is who we got to master it, who's done a bunch of huge records that you would know. Like he did the Metallica S&M records. He's done Mastodon. He's done all these huge Soundgarden, I think. He's done a million records, and he mastered ours, and it sounds fantastic. So
he mastered it for vinyl or just mastered it in general?
both.
Both. Wow.
Yeah.
Because that's really important for vinyl, because you can master something for CD or for any other format, but vinyl is its own beast. You have to sit down with it on vinyl to really get the peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
For it to sound good. So
And
it's
especially-
nice to know that when you listen to a Horseburner record, it's not just a digital recording put onto vinyl. It is put on with love, with vinyl mastering in mind, because that is a big thing for a lot of our older collectors and soon-to-be modern collectors once they start understanding the difference, once they start hearing the bad pressings versus the good ones.
And if you enjoyed your 8-minute track in the middle of the podcast, people, you've noted like brevity is not our strong suit. We write long songs, but we also try to write with vinyl in mind. So we're always kind of pushing the limits of what a vinyl timing should be. So, you start to get a little bit of bass degradation if you go a little bit past 21 minutes or so on a side.
Yeah.
And I feel like we always kind of push to like 22, 23.
Yeah.
So, you got people that are mastering, taking all this into account, and just really experienced, talented people helping us out.
Yes.
So
Do you have copies of your test pressings?
we got one.
One? Man, that sucks. I was hoping to get one that we could raffle off and try to make you guys some nice bank. So.
The label sold out of test pressings pretty quick. We got
Really? That's all. Well, at least
I think within the first week or so, the
First
pressings
day.
were all
For
first
test
day.
pressings.
Why not? Hey,
wow.
we were really stoked. But that's one of the things, like when you talk about we were DIY completely for so long versus helping, signing with labels starting in 2017 is, and I fully admit this, I'm a bit of a control freak. I got to have my fingers in everything. And you lose that, right? You're entrusting your baby, as you said, to other people. Yeah. And, we have been really fortunate that I feel, put our trust in the right people to handle our stuff.
I actually just discovered a book that I haven't seen since just out of high school. And it is a book of playlist questions. I'm going to go grab that book, and I'm going to flip to 2 or 3 random pages, and we're going to fill it out together. Okay.
Oh, okay.
This is how we're going to end the show, guys.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right. I'll be right back. I think I got it when Borders Books was still a thing.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it came from Borders Books. The book is called Music Listography: Your Life in Playlists. It is about 150 pages. I'm going to flip to 2 or 3 random pages, and we're going to fill this out together.
Love it.
All right, first one. List your favorite music biopics and documentaries.
I'm trying to think of what biopics I've even watched.
Well, if documentaries count, we've got to put Time Stand Still in there.
Oh yeah, Time Stand Still.
We've talked about Rush, not enough, but some.
Yes.
Running Down a Dream, the Tom Petty documentary.
Okay.
Like every
I
time I,
haven't
watch
seen that one.
Oh my
don't think
god, it's so
I don't think I've seen it either.
it's so
I didn't even know it
good.
existed.
Every time that I start like, I'm so tired of blah blah blah, the music thing so exhausting. I watch that documentary and I'm like, I don't want to do anything else ever. It's so good.
Have you watched the We Are the World documentary yet that just came out this past year?
No.
I didn't care about that song or know much about it, but the fact that they got that much star power in one city at one time and made it happen over the course of one night from like sun up to sundown. Watch the documentary. It's only like an hour and change long, and it really humanizes Michael Jackson in a way that we don't usually get to see, because it's just like really like who would ever thought this video footage would have ever aired, right?
Yeah.
So totally recommend it. Let's name 1 or 2 more, and then we'll move on to the next one.
I know they're not like a cool band, but the Foo Fighters Back and Forth documentary is also really good.
Okay. Dave seems like one of those guys. I'm not a big Foo Fighters guy, but it sounds like he's like one of those guys I just want to sit down and have a beer with. He would be a great guest.
What was the name of the series they did where they were like recording a different song?
Sonic Highway.
Sonic Highway.
Which
That was a good series.
I wasn't a
enjoyed
fan of
that
the
one.
record that came from it, but the documentary
watching
series was amazing.
I always enjoy watching it get made like that.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do the old flipperoo here, and let's see what's next. List the saddest songs in the world.
Jason Isbell, Elephant.
Okay.
Joe Pug, Silver Harps and Violins.
And the one that I wrote down was I'll Cover You Reprise and Without You from the musical Rent.
Hold on, let me do one more. I can't remember the name of the song. It's
Cats in the Cradle.
It's B.J. Barham who sings in American Aquarium, but he has a solo record from a few years ago called Rockingham, and there is a song on it called The Unfortunate Kind, and it is one of the saddest songs I've ever heard, and I love it very much.
All right. And we're going to end with one final question. This one is called List the Music Your Parents Listened to When You Were a Kid.
I feel like we already did that.
We kind of did. So let's flip again.
But I'll go with Reba just in case we want to.
All right. Grateful Dead.
Jack's dad is like a classic Deadhead hippie. It's awesome.
And Jerry Garcia and Grateful Dead.
Oh, wow. Really?
And
Was he a Fish guy too, or just the Dead?
just Dead.
Okay, cool. I can respect that.
We're going to end on this one instead. And I like this one because I have some of the best answers, at least for my life. List songs that you thought were written about you, aka your theme songs. I'm going to give you mine first, so you got a second to think about it. Number one for me is Dave Matthews Band's The Stone, I Feel Home by the Band of a Revolution, OAR, and Perfect Space by Avid Brothers. Those are the three that I had written down probably 10, 15 years ago.
Are we picking 3 songs?
However many. That's just what I had written down.
Rush, Subdivisions. That's what immediately comes to mind.
Really?
Yeah.
Classic. Holy crap! I have no idea. I have never.
Who would have thought? The deep thoughts.
It's one of those things that I listen to so much that I identify with. But I don't think I've ever thought like this is me in song form.
I get
I don't
that.
think I've ever had that thought. Yeah. And it's not that I'm like such a unique person. It's just I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Not. Again, I'm going to mention him again. Jason Isbell just released a brilliant record last year, and the song "King of Oklahoma" like really hits me hard every time I hear it.
Yeah.
And I went and saw him a month or two ago in Athens, and it was just him and an acoustic guitar, and he played "King of Oklahoma" and then "Elephant," the song I mentioned earlier, back to back.
Yeah.
And I was just like in tears sitting there by myself because it was a 1-2 punch that just destroyed me. It was amazing.
Lyrically, that was my album of the year. Musically, there was a few songs that I thought he basically ripped off. There were some songs that sounded exactly like Ryan Adams songs.
Mm-hmm.
But lyrically, that song King of Oklahoma is probably that song is really, really damn good.
Yeah. Man. That's a good question. I wish I had a more solid answer, but I guess I'll just go with King of Oklahoma for now.
Okay. And hey, we could always do this again one day and sit down on your third vinyl release, and we'll talk about that. So
cool, man.
Let's do some final plugs, guys. Who wants to plug the new record? Where can you buy it? Where are you going to be next in the world? And on that, we're going to thank the band for being here and let them send us off into the sunset.
Y'all, you can pick up Voice of Storms, brought to you via Blues Funeral Recordings on Bandcamp on bluesfuneral.com. You can pick it up at First City Records in Marietta.
Shameless plug.
You can pick it up from Orbit's Record Shop down in Barbersville, Sound Exchange in Parkersburg. There's going to be a lot of places you can get that. We're playing all over the place really soon, so we'll see you out there, I'm sure.
Just in June alone, we are playing the 14th in Morgantown, the 20th in Columbus, June 21st here in Parkersburg, June 22nd in Johnson City, Tennessee, June 23rd in Raleigh, North Carolina, June 28th in Buffalo, New York, and June 29th in Youngstown, Ohio.
Busy guys.
And you just wait. That's just
And that's just June. There's more coming up later.
It's going to get busy. So,
all right. Well, feel free to shoot me information for what you guys got coming up for the rest of the summer, so people that are listening to this can find out where you're going to be in the world, and any really cool things you want for me to pass along to your listeners, send them over to me. So thank you guys so much. We got Jack, we got Adam, 2 members of the metal band HORSEBURNER right here in the Mid-Ohio Valley. Got a new album coming out very soon, and we're going to send it back to the studio. And thank you guys so much, and have a great rest of your day. And thank you guys for coming in.
Hey,
thanks, man.
Thank you for having us.
All right.
Peace out, y'all.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon. All right, folks, and as the crow flies, it is time to sign off for this week. Want to thank all of my guests: Jill Watucky, Adam, and Jack of HORSEBURNER. Want to thank all of my listeners for not only listening, but for sharing, commenting, liking, and just being part of the First City experience. Appreciate every single one of you for helping me have the desire to keep doing what I do. So we'll see you around the store. We'll see you next week on the First City Podcast. Y'all take care now, and bye-bye then.